Hey gang, Uncle Todd here with Sonny. As you can see, we are all dressed up in our bow ties because as it's the end of the year, it's time to celebrate. We're looking at a classic slasher from the 80s starring everyone's favorite slasher queen, Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. This was one of several films she did in the late 70s to early 80s that established her bona fides as a scream queen. Of course, there was Halloween, and then there was Fog, followed by this movie, Prom Night, then Terror Train, and then, of course, there was the Australian thriller with Stacy Keach called Road Games, and she ended her reign in about 81, 82, around 81 with Halloween 2, before going off to become a big star in more mainstream fare, like Trading Places and the Freaky Friday remake and True Lies. But, as we were back in the 80s and this is a slasher film, we have to start in the past, which is about 1974, in which a young girl named Robin inadvertently gets into an accident caused by some of her classmates. In a panic, they vow never to mention it to anyone and then race away on their bikes. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. That no one will know. The police, when the body is discovered, suspect noted sexual deviant named Leonard Murch, who is caught in a high-speed chase. The car crashes and it catches on fire, so he's badly burned and is sent to an institute. Case closed. Cut to 6 years later, the anniversary of Robin's death and the night of the prom. The four. Missing my ring. Hold on. Where was I? The four kids who are now teenagers: Nick, Wendy, Jude, and Kelly. Kelly? Yeah, Kelly. All get mysterious phone calls.
Hello?
Jude,
Yes?
can you come out to play tonight? I'll see you at the prom.
James is the resident.
Callie, it's been a long time. Tonight, it's my turn.
Nick?
Wendy, do you still like to play games?
Oh, get lost, Lou.
It's okay, Dad. It's my fault.
The killer is a little frustrated by this. Anywho, Okay, this plot is a little complicated, so I'm going to try and sum some of it up here. Basically, Robin's mother has never quite gotten over her daughter's death, which is very troubling to her husband, who is also the principal of the school, and his remaining two children, his daughter Kim and her younger brother Alex, who was Robin's twin. Now, Kim is dating Nick, who was dating Wendy, but they broke up. But Wendy doesn't want to be broken up. So you've got that going on. And Nick's father is the man who originally arrested Murch 6 years ago. And he gets some distressing news.
Oh, thanks for coming over, Doc. Been a long time.
I'm on a tight schedule. I hope this is an emergency, Sergeant.
Lieutenant, I was promoted last year.
Great. Congratulations. What's the problem?
Leonard Murch. Just came over the wire. Last night, Murch escaped from the state hospital in Cleveland.
Well, that's not good. But, getting back to the school kids, Jude, who doesn't have a date for the prom, runs into a bit of luck on the way to school.
They call me Slick.
I can see why. How old are you, Slick?
Old enough.
Well, I've heard about guys like you running over girls on the sidewalk.
Just some girls, if they're good looking, I give them a ride.
I'm going straight to Hamilton High.
Straight to Hamilton High.
Yep, Jude's got a date for the prom. Well, once we get to the school, we get the usual comedic dialogue between the students that is actually kind of funny in a way. And we are introduced to a few more characters. Most notably, the school bully Lou, who's got a thing for Kim, which he tries to act on during lunch.
No cookie.
Like me better now? It's an improvement. Well, if you like it so much, why don't you taste it? Come on, be nice.
Big fight breaks out, and Lou and Alex get sent to the principal's office. And look who it is.
Explanations.
Look, I was just fooling around with this girl.
Kim.
When your son, he belted me.
Is that true, Alex?
I knew it.
You knew what?
Well, it just figures.
That I'd play favorites, I'd take it easy on Alex because he's my son? Well, you're right. You have been nothing but a disgrace to this school and this community. You're suspended indefinitely. Now get out.
Yep, the great Leslie Nielsen in one of his final dramatic roles before he became synonymous with comedy. He's a man who had had a long career, dating back to the 50s. I mean, he was in Forbidden Planet and scores of TV shows like Columbo. But then he hit Airplane, and then Police Squad, and suddenly he was a comedian. And I'm kind of glad, because his deadpan delivery really works in the Naked Gun movies. Anyway, since Wendy has been failing in her attempts to win back Nick, she latches on to Lou and concocts a scheme to get some revenge at the prom. Meanwhile, the nurse that had been taken hostage is been found dead at the place where Robin died.
Any sign of her car?
No, Murch must have driven it off after killing her.
got an APB out on it. Shouldn't be too hard to find a beat-up VW.
Don't touch that. Might be the murder weapon.
Keep that in mind. It could come into play later. Oh, and we have a red herring to introduce. The creepy school janitor. Yeah. A little too obvious to be the killer. Oh, remember that VW? Mm-hmm. But school lets out. There's some after-school activities like, you know, the tennis club and all that stuff. And before leaving, some of the girls find something odd in their lockers.
Jude, look. Why?
Our old English teachers would say that's foreshadowing. I just think it's a neat little prop device. Well, prom is finally here. And after a few mishaps here and there, such as Kim's mom's lipstick going missing, and Lou being late to pick up Wendy, everybody arrives at the big event, where Nick's father is on the lookout. You know, merch could come there. Kim's mom disappears. And then Kelly's boyfriend, Drew, who is a big horn dog, has finally convinced her that they should finally go all the way. Something she's been rather reluctant about. And while they're fooling around in what looks to be the boys' locker room, she can't go through with it. Fed up, he storms out saying if she won't, he'll find someone who will. And then, while she's getting dressed, we finally get our first kill. Getting a little stylish there. Well, after that, we cut to outside the prom, where Jude and Slick are having sex. First time for both of them. Afterwards, while getting stoned, we get our second attack.
You know, I'll remember this night for the rest of my life.
Of course. So will I.
And in an amazing twist, Slick puts up a pretty good fight. not slick. And that poor van. Well, it was a pretty sweet ride. Anyway, on to our third victim, Wendy, in which she gets chased through the deserted halls in a very suspenseful sequence. But no matter how much she tries, she can't get away. After all this mayhem, Nick's dad gets some unexpectedly good news.
I had to tell you myself, we got him.
Where? When?
Well, actually, the state patrol got him out near Alderston.
That's over 50 miles from here.
Yeah, he must have left town after he killed that girl in the convent.
Well, I can start enjoying the prom. See you in the morning, Sayer.
So he's not the killer. Although about this time, Kim's dad's now disappeared, along with her mom. Perhaps he went looking for her. Oh, and remember the creepy janitor? He crashes the prom drunk, saying there's a killer loose, and Nick's father takes him to the station where he can go to the drunk tank and dry out. Or remember that big plan of revenge Wendy and Lou had? It was to have Lou's buddies grab Nick and Kim when they were backstage because they're going to be crowned king and queen of the prom. And then they would take their place. Well, Wendy's not around. Lou decides he'll go ahead with it anyways, and he'll just have Kim all to himself. So his fellas smack Nick around and then tie him up. And Lou gets ready for his big entrance. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Hey, I don't get a chance to do Sean Connery very often. Anyway, when everybody becomes aware of the head sitting on the walkway, which is also one of the iconic images from this film, panic ensues. Everybody runs for the exits. Kim, meanwhile, goes backstage, finds Nick, unties him. He's still a little woozy, but they try to get out. But the killer has recovered, and there's a big three-way fight. But Kim's not going to let anybody hurt her man. It's at this point Kim sees the killer's eyes and recognizes the killer. She follows him outside where he collapses, and we get the big reveal.
I don't know. They did it.
And thus, he dies in her arms. And her learning the truth. Her friends are dead. Her boyfriend is partly responsible for her sister's death. To be fair for him, throughout the film, he kept trying to get the courage to tell her, but he never did. So he gets no credit for that. A very downbeat ending, but a very well-made film. It's more of a suspense film than an actual slasher. The few moments of violence are very quick, and as with the first killing, you more hear it than see it. Of course, with Friday the 13th's huge box office, that would change. And most slasher films that would follow would be more graphic. Like My Bloody Valentine, which was a basic reworking of this plot. Only it was a group of 20-somethings in a mining town, and it was a demented miner who may have escaped from an asylum. There was a Valentine's dance, and the love triangle was 2 guys and 1 girl. But this is a very good film, as I said. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, awesome performance, completely different from the character she played in Halloween. Very strong, very forthright, still smart, and it's implied sexually active, which is interesting because Halloween set the precedent, and Friday the 13th would carve it in stone where the virgin is the only one to survive. But in this film, you have someone who is a virgin, almost has sex but doesn't, and gets killed, and someone does have sex and get killed. And yet the main character, who is sexually active with her boyfriend, does not. I just found that interesting because when you continue down through a lot of the later slasher films, especially the Friday the 13th series and the Halloween sequels, they very much follow that trope. I know that there's almost an hour before, an hour and 10 before the deaths start happening, and they happen rather quickly, but the film doesn't lag for that. I know a lot of times it can get boring while gorehounds wait for the appropriate set pieces of death, but here it's got an interesting story. There's really good characters, well acted. I mean, as Wendy, you got Edie Benton, who of course would also make the Boogans. And I mostly remember her from the short-lived sitcom Sledgehammer, where she was the title character's sidekick. It was sort of a Dirty Harry spoof. And, of course, you got Leslie Nielsen, always a good actor. And he gives a pretty standard, serious performance, although he does give one of the funniest examples of dad dancing during the disco dance sequence where he dances with his daughter, and he's very awkward, and it's very funny. And the film is also, it's an interesting combination because it's a combination of Halloween as a slasher, the prom setting, and the revenge of the two characters. It is reminiscent of Carrie. And with the disco set, it is very Saturday Night Live-ish, especially during a sequence where when Kim and Nick see Wendy show up with Lou, they immediately hit the dance floor to wow the crowd and show them what they're not afraid of them and they don't bother them at all. And Jamie Lee Curtis is a very good dancer. You got to give her that. She trained. You can tell. Okay, it's not as provocative a dance as the one she did in True Lies, but she gives John Travolta a good run for his money. One of the things I like about the film is the use of background music during the kills. For the most part, although there are a couple of stingers during the chase scene, most of the kills are scored by the music either coming from the prom, which you hear very low because they're in different areas, or in the case of Slick and Jude, from the music playing on the radio in his van. I found that was an interesting touch. And the director did say in one interview that he was trying to make a Hitchcockian suspense film more so than a hack and slash film, and I think he succeeded very well. I also and it has good character moments. The moments between Kim and Alex show a real affection for each other, along with a joking attitude. Well, here's an example.
Have a date for the prom yet?
Mm-mm.
I happen to know Jude's still available. Now, she is older and very sophisticated.
Come on, Kimbo. I may be hard up.
Alex, she's cute. Besides, she's very funny and very intelligent. It'll give you somebody to do your equations with.
Oh, great. You know I'm in charge of the sound system tonight.
Not bad, but it isn't romance. Well?
Amazing.
You like?
You look almost like a woman.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you going to help me with these, or are you going to just stand there and leer?
You're my sister. I'll leer.
You're going to get over here.
They show a true affection for each other. And they're not the only ones that have some great scenes. Wendy and Lou are hilarious together because she's the upper crust rich girl, and he's a thug. And they also can't stand each other. and Jude and Slick, they're kind of cute together. Both people that haven't had anyone, but they find someone. And of course, Drew and Kelly are the standard he will, she won't, and just keeps fighting over it. But yeah, it is a classic of the genre for a reason, at least to me. Not least because it was one of Jamie Lee's slashers during her heyday. Of course, she would return to the genre several times, especially the two Halloween films she made in the 90s and the trilogy she made over the past few years. So, I mean, she's had a long association with Halloween, and I think she finally came to terms with it, I think, in the 90s, because she did a lot of films to kind of go in the opposite direction, as a lot of actors will do when they've become a little typecast. But, yeah, very good film. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay after the credits for my favorite scene.